Every morning, like clockwork, a crow would land on the old man's windowsill. Its feathers were the color of polished obsidian, its eyes like two sharp, knowing beads, and in its beak, it always carried a letter. The old man, whose name was Arthur, would rise from his worn armchair, his joints creaking a protest against the morning chill. He'd unlatch the window, and the crow would hop inside, dropping the crisp envelope onto the wooden floor before accepting its payment. A small piece of bread Arthur always had ready. For years, this was their ritual, a silent, steadfast pact between man and bird. Arthur would pick up the letter, his fingers tracing the elegant script on the front. He never opened them. None of them were for him. They were addressed to names he didn't know, two houses on streets that no longer existed, ghosts of a neighborhood long since changed. He was just a custodian of forgotten messages, a keeper of words that had lost their way. He would stack them neatly on his mantelpiece, a growing monument to missed connections. There were hundreds, maybe thousands, of them now. Letters sealed with wax, letters faded by sun, letters whose paper had grown brittle with age. He imagined the stories inside them, declarations of love, whispered apologies, news of births and farewells. A whole world of human emotion, locked away in his quiet living room. His own life was a story told in silence. His wife, Eleanor, had been gone for a decade. She was the light, the music, the voice of their shared world. When she passed, she took the color with her, leaving Arthur in a monochrome existence. They had never needed many words between them. A look, a touch, a shared smile was their language. Now, the silence was different. It was heavy, empty. The crow was his only regular visitor. Its brief, daily appearance, a single, reliable beat in the slow, monotonous rhythm of his days. Sometimes, he'd talk to it. Another one for a stranger, my friend. He'd murmur, and the crow would cock its head as if it understood, before taking to the sky. One Tuesday morning, the ritual changed. The crow arrived as usual, but the letter it dropped felt different in Arthur's hand. It was heavier, thicker, and as he turned it over, his breath caught in his throat. His heart, a slumbering old thing, gave a sudden, powerful thump. There, on the front of the envelope, written in a delicate, familiar script, was his own name, Arthur. I stared at it, his hands trembling so much he was afraid he might drop it. Eleanor's handwriting. Unmistakable. It was as if she were standing right there in the room with him. How was this possible? He sank into his armchair, the letter clutched in his hand like a precious, fragile thing. The crow remained on the windowsill, watching him with an unusual intensity. For the first time, it didn't fly away after its delivery. It waited. With fumbling fingers, Arthur broke the seal. The paper inside was soft, worn, and smelled faintly of lavender, her favorite scent. He unfolded it, his eyes blurring with unshed tears as he read her words. "My dearest Arthur," it began. "If you are reading this, it means my time has come, and my clever little friend has finally delivered my last message to you. I know you, my love. I know you will retreat into your silence. You will build walls around your heart to keep the hurt out. So I am sending you a task, a final adventure for us," she went on to explain. Before she passed, she had spent months writing letters, hundreds of them. She wrote to old friends they had lost touch with, to distant relatives, to the children of their neighbors who had grown up and moved away. She filled them with memories, with questions, with love. She told them about Arthur, about their quiet, happy life together. She asked them to write back, not to her, but to him. "I found a young, clever crow in our garden," she wrote. "He was injured, and I nursed him back to health. He's a smart one. I taught him to take these letters. I couldn't be sure where they would all end up, but I had to try. I couldn't bear the thought of you being alone in the silence, my love. Silence is beautiful when it's shared, but a prison when you're alone?" Arthur looked at the mountain of letters on his mantelpiece. They weren't for strangers. They were for him. They were Eleanor's way of rebuilding his world, of filling the silence with voices from their past. Each letter he held was a seed she had planted, a potential connection waiting to bloom. They weren't random, lost messages. They were a map. A map. Back to life. Your adventure, my darling Arthur, the letter concluded, is to open them. All of them. Find the people I wrote to. Let them fill the quiet rooms with their stories. Let them remind you of the life we built and the love that still surrounds you. Don't let my last word be goodbye. Let it be the beginning of 100 new conversations. I love you, always. Your Eleanor. Tears streamed down Arthur's face, but for the first time in 10 years, they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of overwhelming, heartbreaking gratitude. He looked at the crow, who blinked its dark eyes slowly. "Thank you," Arthur whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, my friend." He stood up, his body feeling lighter than it had in a decade. He walked to the mantelpiece and took the first letter from the top of the nearest stack. It was addressed to a childhood friend of Eleanor's who had moved to the coast. His hands were steady now as he opened it. Inside was a reply, a long, beautiful letter filled with shared memories of his wife. And at the end, a phone number and a simple question. "I'd love to hear from you, Arthur. When would be a good time to call?" That day, Arthur made his first phone call in years, and then another. He opened letter after letter, and with each one, a new voice entered his life. He reconnected with old friends, met the children of people he once knew, and discovered a web of affection that Eleanor had woven for him. His quiet house began to fill with the sound of phone calls, with the rustle of new mail arriving this time, through the proper post end soon, with the laughter of visitors. The crow still came every morning, but his job was done. Now, it would just sit with Arthur on the windowsill as he drank his morning coffee, the two of them watching the sunrise together. Eleanor had known that love isn't just about presence, it's about connection, and even in her absence, she had found a way to bridge the silence, to send him not just one last message, but 1,000 beginnings. She had given him the greatest gift of all, a reason to listen to the world again, and in doing so, she had let him hear her voice everywhere.